Do I really have to remove the old paint before I respray a bike frame like this? Not necessarily, and in this video I will show you how to do it properly. This bike belongs to my friend Oscar. It's an Electra Beach Cruiser, and today it has this black faded, quite scratchy, not very fun black color, so I'm gonna hook him up with a beautiful new paint job. We have removed all the bike parts and we have washed it thoroughly. I have inspected it to make sure that there is no damage to the frame. So now it's time to start to prepare the frame for painting, because that is a very important step in this process. After the bike is stripped from parts and cleaned, I sand the whole frame with 800 grit wet sandpaper to level out any uneven spots and to give the primer a good substrate to adhere to. I clean it thoroughly to remove any sanding residue. I put a rod into the bottom bracket hole to give myself somewhere to grab the frame without touching the paint, and I mask it to prevent paint in areas that I don't want it. I degrease the whole frame and then it's ready for the primer. Now is the critical part. The frame now holds the old paint, which I don't know what it is. Therefore, I use a 2K epoxy primer, also called an epoxy sealer. This is imperative. The 2K epoxy will seal off the old paint and prevent it from reacting with the new paint. If you use a regular 1K primer, the solvents in the new paint can penetrate the primer and react with the old paint, but the 2K epoxy will resist that. The reason I keep the old paint in this case is because the frame is made out of aluminum, and that's a tough substrate to get the paint to adhere to. So by painting on top of the old paint, that's not an issue. Another reason is that it's not a performance bike, so the extra weight that paint will add doesn't matter. I paint this bike with spray guns, but all the products I use are available in aerosol cans, so check out the links in the description below. The epoxy is a very good primer for bare metal as well, so if you have a bare metal shining through at any place, that's fine. Just make sure that it's sanded, cleaned and degreased. It's important that your surface is very smooth. Use at least 800 grit sandpaper when you sand your primer, or if you do it wet on wet, make sure your primer is perfectly flat and not orange peely. A too coarse base can shine through the base paint, and if you paint a metallic, the flakes in the paint will gather in the lows and make the paint look patchy and uneven. When I'm done, I clean it with a sponge and rinse it. The prep and primer is done, and the next step will be to lay down a really bling paint job on top of this base that I've just created. But that will be for the next video, so if it's done by the time you see this, you will find it right up there. And in the meantime, I will put some other super awesome video up there for you to see, so go check it out. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next DIY bike project. Cheers.